So full disclosure, I am a huge Geoff Johns fan, and for those of you that know that name, Geoff Johns, I think personally, this is my opinion, Geoff Johns is one of the most important writers, one of the best writers in comic book history, one of the most important writers in comic book history, one of my personal favorite writers. I'm sure there's plenty of you out there that would probably disagree. Maybe y'all think he's overrated. I think that everything that he's been able to accomplish, all that he's done, has been well-deserved. He's worked for it. I mean, this is a guy that I view as not the savior necessarily of DC, but one could say that he for sure turned things around for DC, especially in the early 2000s. I mean, he was just one hit after the other, just really knocking stuff out of the park. I watched the Shazam movie, and I liked it. And one thing that I noticed, of course, when I saw this on the store shelf was, okay, it looks like they're going for the movie-style costume. What I didn't know was that the movie was going to be kind of the foundation for this book. So to me, this kind of picks up where the movie left off, and I don't know if that was done, if that was planned well in advance, or they just decided to just go ahead and build off of what the movie had established. Of course, I'm pretty sure this is going to have its own separate continuity from the Shazam movies, because at the end of the Shazam movie, you kind of feel like, all right, it's about Billy Batson, it's centered around him, but you kind of got the senses, okay, maybe it's going to be kind of like a team movie. I mean, Billy Batson's going to be the central figure and everything going on around him. You know, things that happen by extension are going to include his family. But for the most part, it's going to be centered mostly around Billy. And that's the sense I got from this book. So, oh, God, ugly Ninja Turtles. That CalArt style, I can't stand it. Anyways, sorry. I digress. After reading this book, I love the artwork in it. But obviously, I've read a lot of Geoff Johns stuff that has been much more engaging. This is just kind of more of a fun read, which is not a bad thing. I'm really more looking forward to seeing how things are established from here on out, because that pretty much seems to be the way that it's going. This is basically, for me, a continuation of the movies. But of course, as I mentioned before, I'm sure it's going to have its own continuity and differences from whatever they decide to concoct for the later parts of Shazam, the movie series. So there's this point here where I thought this was funny, because I'm wondering if this is going to be something that is going to be a point of contention between Billy and Mary, where the cop asks him, who's in charge, and he says me, and she also says, I am. He's like, I am, and he's like, yeah, I thought I was the one in charge, and she's like, well, she tries to pull rank on him by saying that she's older. He's like, yeah, but I became Shazam first, so. But from the most part, it looks like, even though there's a little bit of a disagreement on leadership there, it seems like Billy's pretty much the de facto leader. That's the way people are looking at him, at least the rest of the kids. They kind of see him as a de facto leader, regardless of whether or not Mary's older. So I don't think that's going to be something that'll be a kind of long-standing thing where they're kind of vying for any kind of power. But I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a dynamic at some point where there's going to be contention among this team. But I'm reluctant to call this a team book just yet. I think it really is about Shazam or Captain Marvel himself, and just the team plays the secondary role in it. I think it's going to be kind of like a role reversal from Power Rangers, where we saw, like, when the Power Rangers were in trouble, I'm sure you remember that they'd have a tough enemy, and then the sixth ranger of the team would show up. I think it's going to be kind of the reverse in this instance, as crazy as that sounds. I think it's going to be when something gets a little bit too much for maybe Billy to handle, the team will show up, or members of the team will show up. More than one of them will show up. So when it's something that requires a little bit more hands on deck. So I think it's going to be mostly following Billy's adventures or misadventures, and the team's stuff secondary. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Geoff John weaves that all together, because he's a master at taking these things that are in the past history of characters and weaving them into a sensible story, and kind of tying up any kind of loose ends that characters have. I don't think that's going to necessarily happen with this. I think what's a possibility is that he could bring back things that were established in previous Shazam stories and kind of reintroduce them here and tie them in a way that will make sense to it. I could see him doing something like that, but not necessarily taking loose ends that were already established, because, again, this is number 1 of this Shazam series. So we'll see if that's the Geoff Johns magic touch that he puts on it. We'll just have to wait and see. But I liked it, but I definitely need to see more before I can really have kind of a final verdict on this. There's also, for the first half of the book is really just kind of the introductory story, and it kind of ends with Billy's supposed father showing up at the doorstep of his foster home. And then there's a story about Mary, just kind of establishing how Mary got into the Vasquez home and how she and Freddie built up their relationship and became family because of something that happened there. But that's the first part of the story, obviously, is the main focus of the book. So all in all, yeah, liked it, but want to see more before I can really say or really commit to the long haul with Shazam here. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and just stick around for the next review, and until next time, you know how it goes. The hunt continues.